is just perfect. I love StreamYard.
We are live. We are live. Y'all come on in. I don't know if I let's get some viewers on here. Let's see. Can you see the comments, James? Section.
No, not on my side. It just says private chat.
I wonder if it's something I did.
Well, it's two sides. One side says private chat. The other side says comments.
Oh, okay. Is it showing where you can put in the comments?
Not from my side, but it should. Oh, somebody says, "Hey, good evening." Whoever Facebook user is, what's up?
Oh, I see it. I see it. Okay, yeah, let's go. I see it. Okay, make sure I can see some things. Hey. Come on in, you guys. We're super excited tonight. Good evening. Hello, Quincy. This is exciting. Good to see y'all Facebook users. Hey, Tiara. Look, Tiara, so I'm gonna announce myself. She's been waiting for this. She's been waiting. So, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Y'all, welcome to our brand new Stream Yard Live. My name is Yolanda Smith. I am the life coach navigator. I am committed to helping you navigate the challenges with life and financial complexities of life. I am here to guide you towards the best version of you. This show is going to be all about sharing inspirational stories and from successful individuals and how they navigated through the ups and downs of life to achieve their goals. I totally believe that everyone can learn something from these success stories. So, are you guys ready to embark on the transformative journey? Give me a yes, a hey, or something in the chat. No, we can't see you. That Facebook user say, "Can you see me?" We cannot see you. It's just me and the guest speaker tonight. Hello, Rakia. So, you guys, tonight I have my brother with me. I am super excited to have him on tonight. He is an artist. He is a writer. He is a creator. He's a mentor and a pastor. So please give him some love in the chat, some hearts, some hello, and all of these. You guys, please welcome my brother James Bogans the third. Somebody say, "I'm ready. I'm ready." So James, let's start off by telling telling the people who you are. Tell us a little something about you.
Uh, my name is James Artist Bogans
A whole lot
III.
about you, not a little.
Not a little, but a lot. Um, uh, James Artist Bogans III. I am all of those things. The wonderful Yolanda said, artist, creator, mentor, pastor, writer, all of those things. At the pretty much the core of me, I'm a creator who loves to help people find the genius in themselves so they can show their creativity as well. And all my life I've worked in the arts. My entire life I worked in the arts. So even straight out of high school, one of my first jobs was working in the fine arts department of a college where I would help set up for their plays and their stage shows and everything like that. So my entire life has been audio, video, written word, and performance art. I have been in this business for, oh goodness, Jesus, it's been over 20 years. I've been working this since I was 16 years old, and this is the only job I know, to be honest with you. Yeah, this is the only job I know is a creator. So I am a husband, been with my beautiful wife. We've been together for about 75 years, and I don't know how that's possible because we're both just 36. Well, she's 36. Yeah, we've been together for the past decade. We've been married for the past 7 years. It'll be 7 years this November. Have a beautiful 5-year-old son, Ajay. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I'm a friend. I am just here to help creators create. Point blank.
Oh wow, that is awesome. So how did you go into the journey of knowing this is what you want to do in life?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Growing up, um, my brother had been like the catalyst for everything. So when we were little, my brother would put on these shows for our parents downstairs. We'd be upstairs rehearsing different songs and doing choreography. And he would set up everything. He would be the video man, he would be the choreographer, he'd be the producer, the director, all of that stuff. And I was just his guinea pig every time we would do something. But the interesting part is I never, like myself, never wanted to do any of those things. And so, like, as I got older, say when I was about 15, 16 years old, I found myself in a position where I wasn't passionate about anything. I would do certain things that I was
Wow.
good at. I would do certain things that people thought I was good at, that people would just egg me on to do. And I would just do those things. But up until I turned about 16, I had passion for zero. And so one day I was at school. At the time, I went to Stone Mountain High School. This is DeKalb County schooling system. Don't judge me. I was in the lunchroom and these guys were beating on the table, and they were just rapping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's the first time I honestly felt
Oh,
intrigued to do something. And so
oh,
music, words, and poetry had always captivated me. And so that was the first time I felt compelled to actually do something. It's like from that point forward, my entire life has been about music. My entire life has been about literature. My entire life has been about film. And currently, my entire life has been about mentoring those people who want to do those things.
oh wow. Oh wow. So that day was the day it chose you or you chose it.
I think it was a little bit of both because I think it
Oh
had
wow.
been choosing me. It had been choosing me for a while because elementary school I had always been pushed, and even my brother when he put on these extravagant shows at the house, I'd always been pushed in certain directions, but I never felt the passion to do so myself. So I think that day is when I finally chose it.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So James, we navigate through life. So let's talk about the difficult times in life. Can you tell us about a difficult time in life and how you overcame it?
Which one do you want? um, whew, let's see. Okay. When I turned 17, I finally started recording my own music. I had always been shy, afraid to do anything in front of people. But when I turned 17, I finally started recording my own music. By the time I was 19 and I was performing in the clubs in Atlanta, like doing open mic contests and everything like that, I was seen by I was seen by this manager who like manages different groups, different artists and stuff like that in the metropolitan area. And he brought me in to his studio and he wanted me to start recording. And he formed a group called The Alliance that I was a part of. And we were performing everywhere. We had did a few songs together. This one song in particular had really began to get a lot of traction in the city of Atlanta called Tatted Up. And so we were performing that song everywhere. We had gotten so much attention that there were labels calling our manager trying to sign everyone to a solo deal and as a
Wow.
group. And so it was the week before Christmas. It was actually December 17th, I believe, of 2006, where the manager he set everybody down in the group and he started going one by one on what he expected us to do going forward, since we had gotten all of these interests from different labels, because we were about to be signed to a major label. I believe it was Geffen and Universal, if I'm not mistaken. No, Warner Brothers. And he came to me, and at this time I'm 19 years old, and
Okay.
one of my convictions was I won't cuss in my music. And he came to me and he said, James, you know what? Heat is what he called me. That was my rap name at the time. He said, Heat, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change your name. So first thing he wanted to do was change my name. I was like, all right, whatever. The second thing he wanted to do, he said, I need you to start cussing in your lyrics. I know you said that you don't cuss it, but I need some bitches, I need some hoes. I need, like, that's the stuff that's going to sell records for us to make money. And when he said that, I was like,
Wow.
dang, I can't even do that, cuz. But I kept
Right.
silent. I waited for him to finish, because in my mind I was like, I could read, like, this could be the beginning of like a huge career, because everything is happening for us at the time. Like, we're getting all these shows, we're headlining, like, we're getting all of this attention, and this record is about to pop. It was already popping on the
Right.
radio and everywhere else. That was on one hand. The other hand, I said my personal convictions won't allow me to do something that's not me to do. And so I told him that I couldn't do it. And he went off. Oh man, he went off. And I let him get it all out, because he said all the things that he'd been wanting to say to me that he hadn't said before. And so I just got up, I grabbed my backpack, and I left. That was actually
Right.
the last time I stepped foot into his studio. And a week later is when everybody got the contracts for the major label. And I got mine in the mail, and everything in me wanted to sign it. But I put it back in the envelope and put it in a drawer, and I never looked at it again. That was probably the most devastating thing that happened to me in my 19.
Wow.
That was so devastating, because I felt like I was giving up more
Wow.
than I was gaining. Yeah, I definitely felt like I was giving up way more than I was gaining. I felt like I was being cheated for having a conviction that I thought was worth it. And so, like, that was, oof,
Wow.
I think that was one of those big disappointments.
Oh, wow. So, what can you share with our viewers today when they are going for their dreams and something they dream about, but it
Mhm.
go against their morals and what they want to do, but they really want it? How can
Mhm.
they detour through life to still kind of keep their morals or make a decision as you had to do?
I realized actually, um, like years after that incident, seeing and meeting different people in my line of work and in different lines of work, that our our world is filled with successful people who have had to sacrifice who they are in order to get what they have. And for anybody who's trying to do something, you're going to have to make a choice, and you can't do anything in the middle of that choice. It's either going to be left or right, because once you start choosing against your morals, you start choosing against the thing you were made to do. And I know, like, the thing that's in front of us say, yo, we're gonna make this amount of money, we're gonna get this amount of clout, all these people gonna know us, we're gonna be famous, we're gonna go viral, all of those things. If it comes at the cost and the sacrifice of who you are and who you are internally, then that thing's ultimately not gonna last. And I only say that because after I left the group, I was super depressed. And probably like a year later, I began getting phone calls from the other group mates in the group. Now, the song was everywhere. I think it was like
Oh,
#1 on the hip hop charts. They were doing a music video, their album that just dropped not too long ago. And the people from the group were calling me, complaining about the manager, talking about how they weren't happy,
mm,
talking about how they should have left with me. Like, it was all of these things that I was seeing that because I didn't go against who I was morally, I actually avoided that pitfall. That I was at the time, I was like, man, I should have chose that. So like anybody who's aiming for something, I would say put
Right.
whatever it is that you hold morally, like internally in your heart, have those things in front of you all the time. And if any time, whatever successful thing
Mhm.
comes along and it comes at the cost of any of those things you listed, then the answer is no.
Wow, I like that advice. Write it down. They say keep those goals and everything in front of you. Now I'm hearing
Mhm,
keep those morals in front of you as well.
mhm.
Because sometimes we have to talk ourselves out of things too. Like, girl, you know that's not you. Don't do that. Keep. So I love that. That's very powerful. Can you share like a particular proud moment or achievement in life that still stands out to you today?
Oh man. Um, so many of them. I think one of my biggest achievements, it's probably like it's twofold. So I would say my biggest achievement thus far came in the year of 2021. Um every year I do a specific challenge like months before my birthday, and it's a challenge that it challenges the way I think, the way I move, the way I act, helping me to mature as an adult. And I've been doing these challenges since I first turned, I believe, 28. And in 2021 I did this challenge, which was an 85-day liquid fast. And for this 85 days I would eat no food. um, I would only drink water and 100% fruit juices that was made by me. And for 85 days, I had no food. When I first started this fast, well, first, I did this fast for a number of reasons. One, uh, in 2021, I was turning 35, and I wanted to reset my entire body for my 35th birthday. So everything that I had been used to eating, everything
Love
I've
it.
been used to drinking, all those things, I wanted to reset the entire thing. When I first started, I weighed about 230, 235 pounds. Once I was finished, I weighed 170. I was this is this
Oh
big,
wow.
right? This big. And one of the reason why this is such a huge, it's such a huge achievement for me, is because the amount of discipline that it takes um, to suffer for something that you can't see just yet is immense. In your determination, it's in your perseverance, it's in what we use as motivation, it's what we use to inspire us. Even if the things that you're doing doesn't feel good, I think that's why that was one of my biggest achievements, because I gained so much here and so much freedom in my body that I had not even recognized before. I didn't recognize how much, I didn't recognize my relationship to food. I didn't recognize my relationship with God, and I didn't recognize my relationship with my daily living until it changed dramatically. And like those things, it
Wow.
really it did a, like a 180 in my life, and I didn't even know that's what I was looking for. It completely changed the way I think, it
Wow.
changed the way I eat, it changed everything. My mind started working at such an accelerated pace during that fast that I still get the effects of it now, and it's been almost 2 years later. Like that, I think that's probably the most.
Wow.
Yes. And that fast was a healer for me, because months before I had started the fast, I was having really bad problems with my legs, my ankle, my left ankle, and my foot, because I'm a runner and I would run every single morning. But one particular morning, I'm getting up to run, and I can't put any weight on my left foot. No, 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 it was my right foot, and I couldn't put any weight on
Wow.
my right foot, and it was swollen like this, and I was on crutches for almost the entire month of July of 2021. 16 days into my
Oh
fast,
wow.
16 days into the fast, I could run again. At 16 days into the fast, I had no pain in my leg, in my ankle, in my foot, nothing. It was like this fast was slowly resetting my body, but healing it at the same time. It was probably the most amazing thing I've done. And creatively, it's made my brain work so fast and so efficiently. That was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing, especially being here in the South. You know, we love to eat. And I've
Yeah.
been to your parents' home. It's some nice food there. I don't know, how did you survive going to their house and you was always like watching
Listen,
everybody else eat?
listen. Watching my mama cook, watching my wife cook, looking at everybody eat in front of me with my gallon of water sitting right here. It was a it was a struggle. Oh, it was a struggle. I think but that's
I
all
bet.
it's almost
I bet.
metaphoric. It's almost metaphoric or symbolic to how we live our daily lives, because there are so many things in our faces to entice
Mhm.
us, to distract us from what we really want to do. And the thing we really want to do is right behind that thing that's enticing us. But it's so small and it doesn't look as good
Mm,
as what's in front of us. I think that it's the perfect metaphor for what we want and for what we like, what we're passionate about.
absolutely.
Man.
Wow. Wow. I know that was challenging. I would have been drinking that water like, okay, this tastes like some steak. This tastes
To be drinking it, this is French fries. This is grilled
Yeah,
cheese.
just smell the food, just
This
smell
is
of the
Bad
drink.
Daddy's Burgers. Yes, absolutely. And
Look, me and some of my business partners went on. I'm sorry.
no, it was
I
it
think it's
was it
lagging.
was
I'm sorry.
crazy. Like I think I did lose my mind a couple of times. 'Cause you just think about it. Like we're so everything that we're accustomed
Like,
to as
y'all
far as
stop cooking
food.
around here.
Man, yo, like we become so accustomed to the food that we eat, right? And there's all of a sudden one day, boom, no, you ain't eating
Mm-hmm.
it no more. I felt like I was on punishment for a while.
Yep.
Even though I felt like it was, even though I felt like it was on punishment, I think I did lose my mind. But the mind that I gained back was so much, it was worth it. Because, like I said,
Mm,
everything changed.
yeah.
Everything changed.
Yeah. Yeah. I went, me and some of my business partners were like on a 7 day fast, but we had like fruits and vegetables. So look, some of them couldn't survive 7 days. So I can imagine us trying to hang with you. But after that
Yeah.
fast, it's like our eating habit did kind of change and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I could definitely concur. You know, I have been watching some of your challenges on there, but I don't think I would have did that one with you
Yeah.
just yet. You know, gotta get my mindset right. But one of the other challenges that's definitely Coach Yolanda needs some navigation on that. So,
Man.
but one of the other challenges you recently had, you just started. It's called Lock In, correct?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so this year, what's today's date? Today is the 22nd, so we're in day number 4. So we just starting. So you want to come on, you want to join on. It's not a fast. Just don't worry about that part. But this lock in fast, I said lock in fast. This lock in challenge. This is basically taking all of the things in the past decade that we've started creatively, listing them out, and then actually doing them. Because
Wow.
as artists, creatives, entrepreneurs, we like to start a lot of stuff. We'll start doing stuff, and then something else will come
Yes.
along. We'll get distracted, and then we'll put it down, and then we'll pick it up a few years later. Then we put it down. Like all of those things, we list them out, each and every one of them,
Mhm.
and then you just pick 5 of them. You pick 10 of them. You pick one, however many of them you pick,
Mhm.
and you choose to complete them this year. that is that is the lock-in challenge, to complete the stuff that we started, because we have these lofty goals, right? We have all these things that we want to do, all these things we want to accomplish, and then we got to sit back and think about, like, what about all the stuff that I ain't finished yet? Like, I got a whole list of stuff
Right.
that, like, in my notebook is graded as incomplete. Like, I didn't fail it, I didn't pass it. This mug is just incomplete. Like, I ain't finished it.
Past due.
That takes a really humble look in the mirror and be like, yo, I started
Mhm.
this and I didn't finish it. Because now you have to
Mhm.
reconcile with the reason you didn't finish it. Like, I have to reconcile, why didn't I finish this album when I was supposed to? Why didn't I finish this book when I was
Mhm.
supposed to? Why didn't I start this business when I was supposed to? And then I would have to actually answer it honestly so that I could really finish it. I think this is going to be one of those challenges where, well, first of all, this is the first challenge where I've
Wow.
invited other people to do it with me. Most of my challenges I do by myself, and it's mostly because I'm a wild and crazy kid. I do some really uh, crazy challenges, and I don't want to subject everybody to that. But I thought it was
Risk
important.
taker.
Yeah, man, yeah, my whole life is a risk. But I thought this one was so important because I know so many creative people. I know so many artists. I know so many entrepreneurs and so many
Mhm.
people who have started things, who I've watched start them and have not had the privilege of watching them finish it.
Mhm.
And I think this is the type of challenge where anybody could be a part of.
Absolutely, I agree. When I saw that, I was like, I definitely have to do that because I have a list over here too. So, with
Mm,
that being said, how do you stay for the ones that may want to do this challenge? How do you stay motivated and committed to your goals even during tough times? Because a lot of time people have tough times to kind of deter them back, to kind of stop them, or something may happen in life where they stop. How do you stay
mm.
motivated and committed to those goals and dreams?
Um, there was this book I read a few years ago. It's called Atomic Habits by an author named James Clear. And in the book, James Clear, he says professionals keep a schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way.
Hmm.
And when the first time I read that, I
Wow.
closed the book. I closed the book and I stopped reading it because, like, you ain't gonna talk crazy to me like that. You call me an amateur. But I had to really, like, look at myself and go, "Whoa, you be letting life get in the way because you're really acting in
Yes.
a way that's very, very amateur. But you want to call yourself a professional. You
Mhm.
want to say that you're a business owner. You want to say that you're an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. But every time something happens in your life,
Mhm.
you put all of that stuff on the back burner so you can tend to that life thing. And I think for anyone who's trying to
Yeah.
stay motivated
Wow.
or trying to stay inspired, I would have to say that it's not even about you staying motivated or staying inspired. Because we are an emotional people,
I
right?
like that.
All of us are very, very emotional people. So when something happens
We
to us,
are.
we respond. And, like, with the way that we respond, it tells us what's really important to us,
Mhm.
whether we know it or not. And there's this motivational speaker. His name is David Cogans. Yeah, his name is David Cogans. And one day he was doing an interview, and he said, um, "Everybody's worried about what their purpose is, but the way that I know who the true people are, who
Mhm.
really want to get their goals done, are the people who don't need a purpose to get up and work in the morning." And that blew
Wow.
my mind, because when most people wake up in the morning, the thing that's on their mind is going to work. That's their purpose, right? So if I don't have to
Mhm.
go to work in the
Mhm.
morning, I'm going to stay in bed because I don't have a purpose for getting up. What David Kogan was saying is that For people
Wow.
who actually really want that thing that they're saying that they want, they don't need this external purpose to get up and do the work. They're just going to get up and do the work. So it's no longer about staying
Love it.
motivated, being motivated, staying inspired. It's about deciding, is this the work you want to do? Because like everyone has these goals, but
Yeah.
we never take time to recognize the work. And people who love the work will always
Wow.
get to the goals faster than people who are just focused on the goals. So if you could find yourself to get
Mhm.
in a place where you start to enjoy your work, that's the fastest way to get to your goals.
Wow. I love that. I definitely wrote that name down. I'm writing down all this stuff. I'm taking notes too. I'm in class.
Yeah, the book Atomic Habits by James Clear and the motivational speaker are David Cogans, like Cogans, what, Coggins? Yeah, David Cogans.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So during this journey, James, and I know you've done a lot, you started, um, we talked about the South, but you're really not from here. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you're originally from and how the move to the Atlanta area happened.
Woo! Jesus Christ. Well, I am from the city of Baltimore, Maryland. I have to say it slow, Baltimore, Maryland, so I don't say it with my accent. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and born and raised since I was little. Our parents, me and my brother's parents, they have been working every single job possible with the goal of getting us out of the city of Baltimore. um, so I actually went to about 6 different elementary schools and 3 different high schools. That's how
Wow.
much we were moving. And it was one day just chilling at my parents'
Wow.
house. We're going through all the addresses that we've ever lived at. I think we got up to like 18 or 19 before we lost count. We've lived in so many places with
Wow.
the goal of getting us out of Baltimore. And so I believe like a lot of my imagination and creativity comes from my parents, because I don't know how or why they chose Georgia, especially since we had never been here. Like the furthest I had been was like from
Oh,
South
wow.
Baltimore to West Baltimore at the time. And my mama talking about, one day we're gonna move to Atlanta. I say, Ma, what's Atlanta? But like it's crazy because like growing up in Baltimore, of course, it's uh, riddled with drugs, gangs. In every inner city got
Mhm.
the guns, the drugs, the
Mhm.
gangs, prostitution, all of it, the sex trafficking, all of it, and we would see it every day, and
Wow.
thought it was normal. So by the time we moved down here to the metropolitan area, because when we moved down here, we moved to Stone Mountain. When we moved here, it was the first time that I saw stars in the sky. That was the first time when we
Oh,
moved down.
wow.
Very first time, because like being from the city, you look up like you see smoke and you see lights and you see police lights that's on buildings and stuff like that's the stars that we saw. But it was the first time I saw stars. I was very scared when it was nighttime out here in what I call the country, because all these different kind of animals I didn't even know made these kinds of sounds. Like it really frightened
Oh,
me. Like I'm like for a long time, for such a long time, I could not sleep because there were no sirens in the background.
oh my goodness.
I could not sleep because there were no sirens in the
Oh,
background.
wow.
And I had to get
Oh,
acclimated to like, wow, this is not what I'm used to, but this is an actual normal. This is what safety looks like. And I thought I was safe when we lived in Baltimore, but
mhm.
apparently we weren't. And that's a testament to my parents. That's a testament to my brother. That's a testament to my family, because my
Mhm.
brother and I, we never felt unsafe living in Baltimore until we recognized how safe we were when we moved down here.
Wow. Wow, that's just what you was used to, and it kind of felt it was normal, right? It felt
Yeah.
normal. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's a story. That's a story to tell because
Man.
when my kids go to school and stuff like that, and it's different, so they're around different surroundings. It's just where the other kids come from if they're acting different. So we have to be careful how we raise our kids because they take that same attitude, the same atmosphere, and they take it with them. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
powerful story. So I hear you talking about your parents, but tell us some of your biggest supporters during your journey and how did they help?
Oh, let's see. I have a very long list of like greatest supporters, day ones, especially on my creative path, because I was never really forward with what I wanted to do. I always kept it really close to the vest, so only like a few people knew. There were three particular families that supported me from the day I first started, besides my own, of course. One
Mhm.
is the Cross family, Joseph and Tammy Cross and their three children. Um, the second was the Stansel family, Cecil and Hattie, and their five children. And the last was the Nolan family. These were all people like and I'm not talking about like just one or two people like, oh man, they support you, they down for you. No,
Right.
like their entire family have supported me as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as James is who everybody believes he is. Like this is
Mhm.
like they're
Mhm.
probably like the anchor of support when I think of if I'm gonna do something, these are the people I will want to support me. And they have been that since I was about 15, 16 years old. And that it hasn't changed. People have gone off and got married, people have gone off and started their own businesses, and at the same time that support is still there. Like, and of course there's like supporters that come year by year by year, like anybody who's ever
Yeah.
said a kind word or bought merch or
Yeah.
uh allowed me to take somebody on as a client. All of those are supporters, and I'm incredibly thankful for. But those
Yeah.
particular families were the very first ones to see something in me that at the certain time, at that particular time, I didn't necessarily see in myself.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So what would you say to our listeners that's listening that feel like they don't have support? Because sometimes we have support, but a lot of people lack discipline. They lack, that mentorship and things like that. And they look at it as, hey, they're not supporting me because you don't want people to feel like, okay, they're not understanding what I'm saying, but it's just mentors and people trying to push them into their purpose, but they feel like they don't have anyone in their corner. How do you what would you say to them and how if they feel like they don't have that support that you probably had?
Um, One, I'll say that those three families that I spoke about, that I said been supporting me since I was 15, 16 years old, I didn't even recognize that they would support me until I was 24. And I think that's because the greatest kind of support is the kind of support that you get and you don't even know that you're getting. Like not one time did
Right.
anyone from these families ever say, "Hey, I'm over here supporting you. Remember me when something happens." Nobody said,
Mhm.
"Hey, I'm
Right.
helping you carry this thing right here." No, like they just did it. It's like, so for the people who
Mhm.
believe or feel as though no one is supporting them, one, I want to acknowledge that's what you feel. I want to acknowledge that. Two, not all the times, just because we feel it doesn't necessarily make it true. Because
Love it.
a lot of times when we're being supported by something, we don't recognize it because we feel free. And when we feel free, we're not looking down to find support. We going on about our business. We don't need to look for support until we feel like we don't have it.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we feel like we don't have support we would have to look internally and really think about, am I giving my people something to support? Because for anyone who has ever told me that they don't feel supported,
Wow. Love it.
I would never deny what they feel, but I would also always tell them to look at what's being supported. Because now I need you to look down, and I need you to look at the things that aren't being held up by you, but it's something for you. That's support. Just because you don't know who's behind that doesn't mean that nobody's supporting you. I think that's one of the most important
Love it.
things. Granted, like there are definitely people who don't have the kind of support that they desire, or the kind of support that they want. But I'll never forget. My wife said this to me about 8 years ago, because I felt the same. I was feeling the same way, and I was telling her about it, and she sat me down and she said, she's funny. She said, "You artists make me." She said, "You artists make me sick." She said, "Y'all want the whole world to recognize that this is what you do, to appreciate the art that you make. Meanwhile, you are neglecting these people right in front of you who actually support you, and you're not even recognizing it." A lot of times we feel
Wow.
like we're not being supported is because we're not being supported by the people we want to support us, and we're neglecting the ones who actually.
Yes.
That's I think
Yes. I love that.
I think that's one of the biggest things that we fall into.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Listen, so being a creative artist and a writer, how did we land into pastor? Let's talk about this journey. This we went down. We took a right to the pastorhood. Let's talk about it. Breathe.
I would love to tell you if I factually knew how this happened. No, my brother was a pastor for, well, he's been a minister for over 25 years. So I think he first got ordained when he was 14. And he had always been a minister, always been a leader, elder, and then he became a pastor when he turned 24. And he was a pastor for about 10 years until he's like, you know what, I got to hang it up. And during the time where he's making his transition out, he calls me in and he says, "Hey, you want to think about doing this whole pastor thing?" I said, "Hell no." With a few other explicitives, I was like, "No, I do not want that. I don't want. I got to see. I had a front row seat to seeing what it's like to be a pastor by watching him every week, seeing the behind the scenes every week, and seeing that. I was like, I don't want that at all. I do not want it. You can have somebody else do it. Okay, ask somebody else to do it." And he had gave me this book. It's called "It Takes Two." I forgot the author of it. That's how much I didn't like the book. And I'm playing like it was a good book. I just didn't like what he was saying inside of it. But the book was about it was about being someone's number two in ministry. And I was reading the book. I was like, oh, I already do that. I do that. I can do that. And then we got to this part in the book where one of the characteristics of this number two was to be a successor to the pastor. That's when I closed the book. And I was like, no, bro, no, it's not happening. So I ran from that for a while. Okay. I ran from that for a while. And then December 2nd, 2021, me and my wife, we spoke about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it because I have a method when it comes to the kind of the stuff that God tells me to do. And my method and my theory is, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and do it now, so I ain't gotta go do it later. Cause if God wants you to do something, bro, you're gonna do it. Okay. So you can do this thing now, or you could do it later.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather choose now. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this thing. And when I when I said yes, I felt like an entire blueprint was downloaded into my head, telling me that I'm not supposed to be this conventional, everyday pastor that we're used to seeing, because I'm not supposed to be touching the everyday conventional people. That the people I'm supposed to be leading the most are the artists and the creatives and the entrepreneurs. Because as artists, creators, and entrepreneurs, we don't think like normal people. We don't share the same convictions.
Right.
The things that move normal people don't necessarily move us because most of the time we're the ones doing the moving. And recognizing that this was the kind of people that I was supposed to be touching, it made a lot of sense to me as who I am as a person because it matched my desires. It matched the desires that God had already put into my heart, and that was the thing where I was like, oh, now it makes sense. So like it was, we're not supposed to be this church or this people with the steeple in the front and this 3 hour service and fish fries in the back of the church after church. Like it's not like it's not what we're called to. It's not what I'm called to. I'm called to the creatives. I'm called to the entrepreneur. I'm called to the artists because there's a particular faith that people like us have, that has to be nurtured in a specific type of way. As in, I've talked to so many people, artists, creators, and entrepreneurs alike, to where like they're not necessarily moved by the praise and worship the way that everybody else that's jumping around in the church is because they see something different. And for such a long time, they've been made to feel weird because they've seen something different. And so those are the people that specifically the people that were supposed to be called to. So the way that happened was incredibly creative on God's part. I did not agree with it for a very long time, but here I am.
I love it. I love it. And you all are the most genuine people. Most people that step into that role is always the ones, because I know when I knew James was preaching, I would get ready because I know I'd be home in time. I knew we ain't gonna be that long. He gonna give it to us straight, and he gonna say it in a unique way where I understand, and I'm good. I can make it through the week now. So I love it. I love it. So, what personal philosophy or principle do you live by that help you through your journey?
Personal philosophy. Probably just two, maybe. Love what you do and do that work, right? So this first philosophy, I'm a huge proponent for doing the things that you love. The thing is, sometimes the things that we love, we don't necessarily like all the time, which is why we get into the habit of picking stuff up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down. I'm a huge proponent for doing the thing that you love and actually doing the work so that you can continue doing the thing that you love. And my second philosophy is, bro, we can do anything. And it sounds generic and it sounds out there or sounds far-fetched, But I do remember, like, one of my favorite scriptures on the planet is John 14:12-14. This is just when Jesus is telling his disciples, like, yo, you see all the stuff that I'm doing? Like, I'm healing these people. I'm feeding these 5,000 people with two little fish and then a loaf of bread. I'm doing all of this stuff. But what I'm telling you is all the stuff that I'm doing, you can do more, and you can do better. So from my perspective, like, there is nothing that's impossible for us to do. And those are my two philosophies that I have to wake up with every morning. And I say that I have to wake up with it every morning because I too have to continuously remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing so that I can keep doing it.
Oh wow. Wow, that's like having those affirmations, getting up and telling yourself, "Hey, I gotta do this. I gotta do this." I have affirmations. I had to keep saying until I believed it, because
Yeah.
sometimes you just wake up like, I don't believe it, but I have to just keep saying it, and then keep saying it. It's like, okay, I just gotta walk into it. Just keep saying it until you believe it. So I love it. So looking back on your journey, what would you say to your younger self just starting out?
What would I say to my younger self? I don't know. It would depend on how old. How old are we talking? Listen,
Let's go
certain
let's
ages need
do
certain stuff's being said to them. I need to know.
let's do 20.
Oh,
Let's do 20.
you picked the wrong age. All right, if I'm talking to my
Uh-oh.
20-year-old self, honestly, if I'm speaking to my 20-year-old self, I would say I would tell my 20-year-old self, it doesn't make sense, but keep going. Uh, Only because the craziest part about it, knowing who I am and who I was as a 20-year-old, even if I said that to me, I'm gonna look at me and be like, that don't make me feel no better. And the reality is, like, when we need someone to say something to pick us up, it's not necessarily to make us feel better, it's to provoke us into action. So, like, I think telling myself, I know it doesn't make sense, but keep going, I would have to be provoked into action.
Wow, I love it. I love it, James. We're about to end for tonight, but I want to see if anyone out there have any questions for you.
Uh-oh.
So, viewers, if you have any questions, give it to him. I'm ready to hear him. I'm
Uh-oh.
ready to see it. It's your time. You only have a few minutes left to get it in and get these questions answered. Y'all typing too fast or too slow, huh?
I'd be scared of the
So
question.
what tell us, I know. So while they are thinking about it, tell us what you're working on now. Like, is it something you're working on now?
Yeah. So of course we're doing this lock-in challenge. Since it's the first week of this challenge, I just want everybody to get acclimated with the things that they've listed out to say that they're going to accomplish for the year that they put down for the past decade or 5 years, 2 years, or however long. Because I want us to start looking at these things that we said that we were going to finish that we haven't, and really making a determination to actually finishing them. Working on that. Also, I had wrote a book, y'all. So I wrote a book called Bad Pastor, and
Oh,
it's pretty much
I have
my
it.
life journey of a creative as a pastor. Pretty much like all the stuff we've been talking about here, giving a different perspective on life, on love, on God and church, and pretty much just giving it to us. Oh, I think I got one over here. Boom, here it is. It's called Bad.
Look, I didn't want to get little Miles right here. I didn't want to leave the script. I'm
Yeah,
glad you can speak it.
I got it. It's called
I'm like,
Bad
yeah, I didn't think
Pastor.
to
It's
have it.
so on Barnes and Noble, um, Amazon, of course. Bad Pastor: Journey of a Creative Believer by James Bogans III.
Awesome. So one of our viewers says, how can we join the challenge and where can we follow you on social media?
Boom. Okay, so all social media, it will be James Let's Go. That's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's Facebook, LinkedIn, James Let's Go. And once you follow or you send a friend request, say just put lock in. And I'm gonna send you all the information for the lock in challenge, and then we're gonna get locked in together.
Awesome. Let's get locked in because we all need this. This is a journey. So yes, we definitely need. I know I need it. I should have been messaging you. Look, I said something on the TikTok, but I was like, yes, this is definitely a
this is going
journey
to
I
be a
need to
big
take.
one, man.
Yes. And it's gonna be, but at the end of the day, at the end of the challenge, you're gonna achieve so much. You just have to stay disciplined, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a big one for it. I think for a lot of people, sometimes discipline is is what
This
we need, but we
discipline
have
is
to
the
stay
cuss
disciplined.
word.
Yes, it is. It's a bad word. Well, James, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have learned a lot. We are so glad to have you, and a lot of people are told that they can't do so much. You can only stick with one thing. So just to see someone and all the things that you do, I hope that it gave someone hope. Hope it gave someone motivation to keep going and to keep doing what they do, that there's no stopping now. And if you all didn't catch his Facebook, I'll put it on the page, and we all could go in and lock in. I'm not going by myself. Let's go lock in. So thank you, James, and y'all have a good night.
You have a good night. And shout out to Yolanda working that StreamYard, folks.